back, everybody. I'm Kevin from Sticks and Stones Woodcarving, and today we're going to start your first lesson in carving a piece of cottonwood bark, a wood spare face, with just hand tools. Right. So what we're going to do is have a couple of tools we're going to talk about right here. Is just a basic carpenter's chisel. It's a flat chisel. Right. We're going to use that to clear the bark off. All right. And I have two knives here. These right here are Beaver Cut knives. All right. I have a rough out knife and I have a detail knife. I usually like to use flex cut, but we're going to try the Beaver Cut knives out today, and we'll see how they work. All right. I also have a couple of gouges, and these tools here are flex cut. I recommend flex cut. You're going to need some gouges. All right. So I'll put a set of gouges in the links, or you could go to the link to my Amazon store, and you can pick up anything you need if you don't have these. But you're going to need a set of gouges. I recommend flex cut in the beginning. They're cheap, they're high quality, really good tool, and that's what I use on a lot of my carvings, all right, when I don't want to use my real expensive stuff. All right, so this right here is a V tool, all right, and these are power handles. That means you could buy these separate, right, and they push right into the power handles here, all right, and then you can just switch out tools. Okay, so these you could buy one at a time, or you could buy the sets. All right, they come in fixed sets also. So we have a couple of gouges. We have a V tool. We have a couple of gouges with big sweeps on them, and we have smaller gouges like veiners and stuff, because we're going to need to poke some eye holes into our face that we can make. Okay, so I'll explain those as we go, but for now what we're going to do is we're going to start by putting our carving in our jar horse, or whatever vise you have to secure your carving. You could also hold it by hand, but in this video I recommend doing it the way we're doing it, since you're learning, if this is a beginner video. Okay, and get yourself a good vise, a good way to hold your carving down. Like I said, again, you can check out my Amazon store and pick yourself up a jaw horse if you really want to pursue wood carving, or there's other vices and stuff in there on Amazon you can look into. All right, but you need something to hold down that piece. Okay, but that's it. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is make sure you have a pair of safety glasses on also. All right, but we're going to have to make a stop cut going across here. We're going to carve the face down in here. Okay, and I'm going to take my flat chisel and just push it straight in. All right, creating what we call a stop cut, so we can push that wood up and into it. Okay, so we're just going to clear some of this wood off with a shaving action, like so, to get down to that carvable surface. All right, so that's what we use this flat chisel for. Another way to do that, but you don't want to use your good knives on stuff like this. This is a pretty tough piece of cottonwood bark. Is use your rough out knife, right? And that does the same thing. All right. Then we're going to try and keep this round, high in the middle. Notice how I put my thumb against the knife here, and then all I have to do is kind of roll it. All right. That's safety. Keep your fingers out from in front of that knife. You just kind of rock it back and forth. Push down, create another stop cut. See that? Now these Beaver Cuts, they have a pretty strong blade. I kind of like that. It's not as flexible as the flex cut knife, but I like the rough out knife for stuff like this anyway. I would usually use that carpenter's chisel, or I'll take a grinder and I'll grind all this off. But right now we're just trying to clear that outer bark off to get down to the inside. See how nice and clean that wood is? That's what we're going to carve. Okay. Now we have a nice little spot cleared. We could put our face in here. We could start putting some details and everything on them once we get it roughed out. Okay, that's step one, cleaning off the wood. Again, trying to keep it flowing back, so make sure you take it down on the sides so you have room. Okay, make sure you have enough room to build the face in here. Okay, that's step one. There, now we can see a lot better. Okay, what I'm going to do is take my pen or pencil and I'm going to draw a line that's kind of arched like that, straight across, and this will give us the beginnings of a forehead up here. We could put eyebrows in, a lot of things, but we need a place to start. That's going to be our starting point, where we can create a hairline and everything else. So that's all we're going to do is take our V tool next, right? That's the one that's shaped like a V in your set of gouges, all right? And we're going to go across. Now we could do this with a knife also. Okay. I could use my detail knife here, and I could just cut into that line, score it across, and then shave up to it, okay? Or you could just take a V tool like this, put your thumb on the V tool. That way it'll only go so far, all right? I always put my thumb right here on the edge of it and then push that through, and it'll create that gully, okay? Now the tool can only go as far as I'm allowing it, because I'm just kind of rocking it that way. What I don't want you to do is keep your thumb off it, try to push like this, and then push that tool into the side of your hand. That will hurt, trust me, and it's going to leave a very bad cut. These are very sharp tools. Be careful, okay? Now, once we made that line with our V tool, let me bring this over so it's a little more straight on. We're going to shave up to it with our knife, okay? Just going to shave up like that. And take some of that wood out of there. Again, the whole time trying to maintain this kind of V in the middle shape, okay, or round it over. And you can always clear that out by recutting your stop cut with that knife, okay, and make a nice clean cut up to that stop cut. Okay, there. Now that way we can start building from here our face. We're going to move down. Face should be broken up into thirds, okay? Up here is going to be 1/3. Middle of the face is going to be 2/3. That's about where the nose I'm going to put, okay? I'll put a line there. That's 2/3. And then down here would be the chin, all right? So if you keep that in mind, it'll be kind of symmetrical. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to start where the nose is. Now, there's a couple ways you could do this. We could go straight in, all right, by either pushing with our knife. Whoops, hit the camera. Could push in with my knife like that and then shave up to it, all right? And we could take wood out that way because we want that nose to stand out. So if you want that nose to stand out, you're gonna have to take wood out from underneath, okay? What I like to do though is take a good enough size gouge. That right there would be good for the size of the nose. And you see the sweep? This is the sweep. You see that circle, right? That little circle. And what I'm going to do is take that, put it in about to where I want the bottom of that nose. I'm going to push straight in here, okay? And just push it into the wood, just like that, okay? It's just, all I did was push it straight in. And that'll give me the shape of this tool, which is rounded. So that'll make the bottom of the nose that shape. And then I'm going to take the wood out from underneath that. Okay. Make another cut. And shave up to it and remove it. Okay. Now if it doesn't remove all the way, just simply take another cut. Push it in, push down, and you'll have a nice little rounded part there. Right. I like to take the same V tool, the same gouge, and invert it. Okay, I'm just going to turn it over. I'm going to put it on the edge here like that. I'm going to push that in. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to scoop that out. See, this tool is going to dictate whatever shape that cut is. The shape of the sweep is going to be the shape of the cut. If I turn it over, I can take that chip out. Okay, and then I can do it on this side here too. Try to keep it kind of symmetrical. Push it in. Come up, take it out, do another one, push it in, take it out, and then we can just clean it up all underneath that nose and let it all kind of blend together. Okay, now don't worry if it's too wide here, because we're going to take this down next. So now we have the bottom of the nose out. He's starting to stick out. We're going to take this tool and lay it regular, just like that. Same tool. I'm going to come up on the sides and I'm going to make a gully straight up into that stop cut. I'm going to do the same on this side. About here. I'm going to go up. I want to leave enough wood for the bridge of that nose to stand out widthwise here, going across. And I'm just going to shave all this over and blend it in, just like that. All right. Same on this side. Shave it over. Let it go right off the side of the wood if you have to. Now I'm going to clean that up with my knife. See these chips up here? Take your knife and just score that on top. Score this on top up here and make sure you shave up to that. There. Now we're getting some nice gullies in here. We can start making some room for eyes. Now I'm just going to round this over with my knife and kind of clean it all up. Take those sharp edges off. Now that will be easier to blend that nose into the face. Okay, so just clean it all up, get these little lines out. And we're going to angle this back a little bit at the top. Good. Okay, so we'll have a nice wide nose there for that guy. We're going to do one more step before we move on. We're going to take the same gouge. Okay, the same one we just used for all of this. We're going to turn it over upside down once again. We're going to come over here to the side and we're going to start wiggling it and pushing it in down the side of the nose like this, straight down, right? Dig it in where you figure you're going to have a pretty good size nose, the size that you want, right? And now do it on the other side. Kind of come in, trying to keep them kind of symmetrical, push it in. Trying to do this and stay out of the camera. And give it a pretty good push. Now to clear those chips there, we're just going to take the same tool, flip it over. Take a piece out there that would have cut. And that piece out there. And now you start having your nose. You can clean it up a little bit by redoing it. Okay. Get it a little deeper if you'd like. And that kind of sets that nose in there. That's simple. All right. Good. Now we have our eyebrows starting to form, or eye bridge anyway. And we have a nose starting to shape. All right. We'll advance from there and move on. Okay, our next step is I'm going back to my detail knife, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut around that line and push that knife in pretty good, okay, just like that. Then I'm going to come up to here and I'm going to pull down just like that, making it pretty deep. And see from here, from the tip of the nostril here, this corner, I'm going to push in and remove that chip, just like that. And that'll start setting that nose in there. Okay, we're gonna do the same thing over on this side. Gonna push in, make sure that cut is in there pretty good. Okay. Get it pretty deep down here at the bottom. Pull it out. Come over to the side, pull down, and then remove this chip from here to there in the corner. Pop that out. If it doesn't come out, just cut it again. Get them little pieces out of there, like so. And now we have the nose set in pretty good. Okay, now you can always come up here and make it a little wider if you like, if you need more shadow. Carving's really all about shadows. So the more shadows and depth you can get on your wood spirit face, which is what we're carving here, the better. See how that really sets that off? We're also going to be forming a mound here to build a mustache or a mouth. All right, so I like to set these in pretty good. Okay, now we'll clean up and round this over. Just very carefully with your knife. Get rid of the chips and anything that the gouge left, okay? Again, using that rocking motion. Keeping my thumb against the back of the knife blade. And round all this over. Trying to keep it kind of high in the middle. And making it as smooth as I can for the next phase. Just try to blend it all up in there. And keep those chips out of there, okay? Which will sand up pretty nice. This is cottonwood bark, so a little piece of 220 really cleans it up nice. And we'll show you that later. Okay, that looks pretty good. Starting to build a nice little mound here. I'm gonna come down here a little bit more and clean a little bit more of this wood off down here, because I want more room to build that face. I'll give him a long beard, and we'll make this one fairly simple. Just said this tutorial's meant to try and just show beginners an easy way to do it. You could do this on a walking stick. You could do it on any piece of wood that you have, really. But it's the same techniques. Nice and simple, basic. Okay, we're gonna go back to our pen or pencil, whatever you're using. We're gonna figure out about where we want a mustache now. Do we want a big, long mustache or a small mustache? Let's try to do something simple, but give it a little bit of movement here. All right, something like this, and then we'll kind of form that to come down like that. All right, and over here is going to be the top of the mustache. We'll bring that down right from that smile line there. We'll bring it down on that side. Now there's a few ways we can go about cutting this out. I guess the simplest way to show you would be with the knife. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to score that line with my knife. I'm going to push straight in and take that out. Over here too. I'm going to follow that down with my knife. Keep my thumb on the wood and just push in and just use my hand to drag, but I keep my thumb in the same spot. That way I'm not doing this and trying to, you know, because that's going to slip and you're in trouble then, right? Keep your thumb on the wood, score that line that you made, then come over to the side and shave up into that cut and take that wood out. Now we're starting to form shadows here on the sides. Start making him a little more dramatic. Okay, we clean that up. On the bottom here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the V tool that we had. And if you watch the V tool when you cut it, the outside edge is what you want to watch. This edge here, that's going to be the edge you keep that cut lined up with, okay? So I'm just going to shave up, come over here, and again, my thumb is right on top of, thumbs are together here actually. That way I'm just using a rocking motion, very small, so I'm not going to push it into my other hand. I can come up from here and take that wood out. If I was holding this, it'd be a lot easier if I actually hold the piece, but now you could do this with your knife also. All right, but I'm trying to show you all the tools we're using. So that right there is the effect the V-tool is going to leave. You could recut it if it's not good enough. You can clean it up with your knife, okay? Come up from the bottom if it stops cutting. And now how we see how it's high there, now we're gonna round that with our knife, like so. And then we can form a mouth or a lip or whatever we want. But we want to kind of round that off and tuck it up under that stop cut we just made. On the sides, just kind of cut into the cut we already have. Always rounding into that stop cut. And if you want a more dramatic stop cut again, just recut it a little bit with your knife and push that wood into it. Just like that. Over here, take some of that out a little bit more. And there you go. Now we're starting to form the outsides of the mustache and the inside here, where we can put some beard hair and a lip and a mouth. Okay, so that's where we're going there. Good, he doesn't look so bad. Let's draw a little lip here, and I'll show you how to do a mouth quick. So what we're going to do is take our pen or pencil or whatever we're using. I'm going to make a line just like that. Now we're going to take our V-tool again. I'm going to start in the middle, pretty much. Come across, take that wood out from the bottom, and then come from this side and do the same thing here, just out from the bottom. Okay? Oh, pop the piece of my mustache there. All right, we're going to shave up to that. Try and round it off. And the way I'm going to set that in is I'm going to come over to the corner here with my knife, and I'm going to make a V cut. I'm going to poke in there, I made a V, and I'm going to pop that chip out. And that'll make a nice little indentation for that lip to go under the mustache, okay? Just like that. Same on this side. I'm going to push down, come over here, push down, and then pop that chip out. Then it's a matter of cutting at the top. Another V, popping that chip out, and getting that lip to start rounding off and going underneath that mustache. If it doesn't, score it with your knife a little bit, and then shave up to that cut. Try and go underneath the top wood. See how that works? I'm going to round this a little bit with my knife since it's got a little bit of a crack there from pushing with my V-tool. That's all right, we can clean that up. And around this here. This is kind of a flaky piece of cottonwood bark. Some are better than others. Remember, it's only bark, so you can't force it too much or it chips. You're better off with shaving actions. Okay, now we have a lip. Awesome. Maybe up here, clean that up a little more. Now, there's a lot of things we could do. We could add teeth, we could put a bottom lip, we could do a lot. I'm going to take it down a little bit more because I want to just kind of make a mouth, and we'll just, since we're making this a simple one, I'll show you how to do that. Real quick, we're going to take one of those gouges. Well, actually, you could probably just do it with your knife while you're here too. Come up to here, push it in. Push it in on the other side, and then go straight across, not too deep, and pop that chip out. Keep repeating that process till you get a shadow there. And that'll look like a little mouth. You'll make that shadow underneath there, and then clean up the bottom. And now you have a shadow, and he looks like he has an open mouth. Okay? Pretty simple. Good. Again, over here on the sides, I want to take this down a little bit more, get it to go under that mustache. I don't want it higher than the lip, that's for sure. So I'm going to take that down some. Just a matter of going around the carving and seeing where you want to get more shadow, make it a little deeper. Always carve deeper. If it's not looking right, chances are you need to carve more. A lot of people think they took too much off, but you do have to be careful that way too, because that's one thing about carving. It's not like sculpting, all right? I'm gonna push this down here, straight down with my knife here, going straight down, and then shaking up. The one thing about carving is once you take wood off, you can't put it back on like sculpting. Okay, so you got to kind of think in advance. Okay. I mean, I could be playing with this and cleaning it up all day. I really want that lip to go under the mustache though, so I will work at it a little at a time with my knife until I'm happy with it. And the same down here on the bottom when I get that going. But I like the shadow of seeing that separation, especially where the mouth goes under right here, in the corner right here, and over here, okay? That's what's gonna make it pop. All right, let's come back up to here for a minute. What I'm going to do here is clear up some more of this wood with my gouge. Okay, that's my V-tool. Where's my gouge? You have to look at my tools here that I'm holding. And I'm going to clear some of this off to give us a little more room up here to start messing with some things. So again, I'm holding my finger on it. That way it's only going to go as far as I want it to go. And I'm just going to take some scoops and slices and make that a little smoother. Same with here. And take some wood out and give ourselves more room to work with. There, I like that a little bit more. And over here on the side, I want the same thing. I want this to kind of blend right off the side of the face. So I'm going to scoop out this side right here. See if I can do it holding it like this. I'm going to take the temples out a little bit and get some of that bark off there. Because over here on the sides of your face, you actually have a divot. And that's what's going to make a big difference in your carving. So we're going to put a little indent there with our gouge. Because when you look at it from the side, you're definitely going to want to see the indents here, and the sides of the profile will look a lot better. All right, you'll be able to see that eyeball when we start rounding it. Okay, he's starting to shape up a little. Now up in here, we're going to come over here and we're going to come down like this. Because what we're going to do is we're going to cut in and push that forehead and the eyebrows up and under that line so we can start making him look like he's embedded into the wood and actually growing out of it. Okay, so I'm going to use my knife for this, and I'm just going to follow that line all the way down to the side, and then take a removal cut and push that up into that stop cut. Same on this side. Remember, keep your thumb on the wood when you're doing this. All right, we'll come down about to there. If it's not deep enough, you can do it again. Try to follow your same cut. Okay, and then we're going to push this up and into that cut. If it doesn't come out, hit it with a stop cut again at the top, and then push that wood up. Again, if it doesn't clear out too easy, just come across with your knife again at the top. We're going from here up and pushing the wood up and under that cut we made with our knife. We're pushing it into that cut, okay? And then we're smoothing this part here as we go, because we're going to want to form some eyebrows, and that's what we'll use that wood for. See how he's starting to, that face is starting to dig into the wood now? trying to go nice and slow here and show you different ways and easy ways to start getting that face to start shaping. Now from the side, you can see that he's starting to get some depth, okay? And we didn't even separate eyebrows or anything yet. All right, good. Okay, I want to take out some more wood over here because we're gonna have to form some eyeballs in here. So first, we're gonna separate right in between those eyebrows. So I'm gonna take my V tool, that's the one that's shaped like a V, and I'm gonna push it straight up, just like that. I'm gonna take my knife at the top, dig it in and pop that chip out. Okay, look at that, eyebrows, or at least the start of them anyway. Okay, good. Now we're gonna take our knife, push it in there, push the nose up and under that. Like so. Take them little chips, make sure you remove them. Same over here. I'm gonna push, again, bringing it up to that V, and then push the nose, or the wood at the top of the nose, I should say, into that cut. Trying to get that to go underneath, okay? This way the nose goes up and under the forehead. And we're gonna take the top, and we're gonna kind of round that up, because we don't want it the same height all the way. We want the eyebrow to be a little bit higher at the bottom, but the forehead above the eyebrow to go up and under that hairline, because this up here is going to be hair. So let's take some of that down, push it up in, just like that. And leave just enough wood so we can actually shape an eyebrow there. Okay, we're going to round all this off. Try to make it a little smoother, a little rounder. I wish this piece wasn't so chippy. That's okay though. I don't want it too high here. I don't want to have these big chunks of wood for eyebrows, but and again, it doesn't matter if you keep yours like that or not. Everybody's wood spirits will look different, and every piece has its own character. So if it doesn't exactly look like mine, that's okay. You're learning, you're having fun, and that's all this is about right now. All right, you will come up with something, trust me, that you didn't before, that's where you start. So don't worry if yours isn't perfect or doesn't look like mine. It's not supposed to. Everybody's art is different. I'm just taking this eyebrow now. It's a little too low for me to get an eye in here, so I'm gonna make a cut like that and try to make it a little bit higher by taking that out. Okay, again in the corner here, I want that. By the corners of the nose is going to be the deepest, so I'm going to dig out a little bit right here and push it up into there. Get some shadow. And the same here. I'm just going to make a little bit more deeper cut and try to get it deeper in the corner here and everywhere else. And clean them little chips up as you go. Okay. Now because I'm not holding it in my hand, it's kind of hard to get over there with the knife, but I'm trying. See, when you're holding it in your hand, you can wear a glove, because you definitely don't want your knife hitting your hand, and you can rotate the piece, and it's a lot easier to manipulate it and get your cuts. But that's okay, this is working fine. Okay, there we go. Now we pretty much have the basis of everything we need to really start shaping him up and making him look more and more interesting. We got our nose, we got the beginnings of a mouth, we have a mustache cut in. Once you start adding hair and everything, this guy's gonna start popping and looking pretty cool. Next, we're gonna try and take these cheeks down a little bit more, and we'll do that in the next video. This one's long enough, or in the next clip anyway. Let's move on to there. Okay, I'd like to take these cheeks and really suck them in, all right? So I'm gonna take my bigger gouge. This one has a pretty good sweep on it, okay? I'm gonna come up here, just like this. Usually I I would do this a lot easier, like I said, if I was holding it. But all I'm going to do is take some wood out like this on the sides. Okay. And kind of get that to go down like that. All right. It's kind of a concave swoop. All right. So you can see the way I'm indenting that. If I get close right here, I'm just kind of scooping that out a little bit like that and letting it go back off the wood. Okay, that raises the cheek up here. Okay, see that? Because I definitely want those to be raised, and I'm going to go all the way back with this, all the way around the side. All right, so that really shows. Okay, there we go. I want to dig that in pretty good, just like that. I'm going to come over here and do it on this side. And take that down. And to raise the cheek, take wood out from underneath it, like so. That gives him that sallow look. Show you what I mean once I start using the knife here to clean that cut up and blend it in. I don't want that cheek real high, but I do want it to flow into that cut that I just made. Okay. Whoops, I keep hitting the camera. I'm trying to have the camera in front of me, and kind of hard to get around it a little bit with the knife. So we're high up here, but we're lower here. Okay, you see that? High up here, and as we come down, we kind of push that wood down and out. And once we clean this up, so the bark's not on it, hopefully you'll be able to see that better. So you know where it's actually going here, okay? Yeah. So now he'll actually start sinking in here a little bit more, a little bit better. And when we go to build the face on the sides, that'll look a lot more interesting. I'm just digging that mustache out a little bit now on the outside. Again, you make the stop cut and then shave to it. Okay. Over here, as I have a little better wood, same thing, make the stop cut, shave to it, and try to round everything over as much as you can without taking it out too much and ending up with no mustache. Little as we go, we're still cleaning this piece off. All right, getting down to the better and better bark, which will really be nice by the time we really put all our final detail on. We'll be into that good wood. Okay, so now that's taken care of. Let's see. Up in here, let's start forming an eye. We're gonna make this pretty easy for the first video. Now your eye has an eyelid at the top and an eyelid at the bottom. Okay, and the biggest problem with carving, especially with hand carving, is people can't do eyes. That's the biggest problem I have people tell me. I'll show you a quick, easy way to do them. We're gonna take our knife, I'm gonna move the camera over here. I just drew two little lines about where I want eyelids. I'm gonna take my knife, poke it in, drag it across on that line, and then take some wood out from underneath it. Okay, try to leave a little bit of that line so you know where you're going. And try to get the wood to go up and under it. Nice little slit like that. This side, we're gonna do the same thing. Move the camera over here. Hopefully you can see. My hand won't be in the way. Okay, I'm gonna take my knife, I'm gonna push it in, keep my thumb on the wood and drag it across that line. Make it a fairly deep cut there, okay? And we're gonna come underneath and just go up to that line, all right? Again, clean it by repeating your cut. And very gently, with just the tip, very little, shave up. And make sure that that part is higher on top than the bottom part. This one right here isn't. Shave it down a little more. Okay, so now we have two little slits where we can form our eyes. Nice and easy. I might clean this nose up a little while I'm here. I have to get some pretty good cottonwood bark to do these videos for you guys. This is pretty flaky, this batch. We'll just work with what we got. Now we want to try and make sure that we clear this out pretty good. So I don't want any big bumps or anything. And I want it to kind of be almost flat underneath, because you're gonna have an eye bag. Okay, everybody has bags under their eyes, even little ones. But these guys, the bigger the bags you give them, the better they look. All right, so I want underneath here to be pretty flat, believe it or not, so we can form a bag and a good eye. So I'm gonna make sure that's all clean and there's no major pieces, and I want it lower than this top lid, okay? So we're just cleaning those pieces up and out. We got that kind of flat. I'll show you how to start forming an eyeball. We're gonna come over here to the corner right here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push my knife in just like that. Make that one dent. Then I'm gonna connect it at the top, facing it the other way. So now it's a V cut, all right? One cut there, one cut there. I'm gonna take a small chip out. Just like that. Again, cut, cut, take the chip out. And it's gonna give me a little shadow, okay? Let's do that on this side. If I can get this camera to stay. And make a cut here. See that? All I did was stick it in, make a V at the top, go under the eyelid here, and try to, can't do it with my hand like that. There we go. Push it in, and then take a small chip out. See that indent there? Again, if we have to, we can always recut that eyelid and shape that down. But you want that corner to be deep. If it's not deep enough on this side, recut it. Because you want that corner to be deep. Okay, to start getting the shadows that we need. This way we can round the eyeball. Now on this side right here, I'm gonna get in close. We're gonna do it on this side, same thing. I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna push my knife in. I'm gonna come to here, I'm gonna push it in again, making that V, okay? And then I'm gonna pop that chip out. Just like that. Now you notice that we have this corner's cut out with the V, this corner's cut out. Once you take the chip out, you have a little bit of an eyeball there, okay? And then we can round that over and we can form our eye. Same on this side. We have this side cut out, even though it doesn't look like much. If I can't see it, maybe I can clear some wood so you can see that. I know it's hard in this light. But I'm gonna try and do the same thing here. I'm gonna push my knife in. I'm gonna push it in here at the top under the eyelid, and I'm gonna pop that out. The chip will almost pop out by itself if you do it with a pretty good cut the first time. And there you go. Now we have shadow here, and we have shadow on this one. Clear out whatever chips you want, and we have two eyeballs formed. Good. We'll move on to the next phase now. Okay, let me show you how to make this a little bit more interesting once we're to this point now. What we're going to do is we're going to come over to here. I'll move the camera so you can see again. We're going to come up to the eye, and we're going to draw ourselves a bag like that and like that from corner to corner. Okay, and of course the eyeball is in here, but you really can't see it yet, so we're gonna draw the line for you. That's where the eyeball is. All right, so now that you can see that, let's see if we can get that cut out and end up with the effect that we have in wood instead of just with our pencil. This right here is another V tool. It's very small. This is a micro V tool. Okay, you have micro size and you have the regular size. Big difference here. Okay, so this one makes smaller V cuts. Okay, you also have veiners and other things, but I'm gonna just run this across at the top here to get that eye the shape I want and to get that wood out, the eyeball anyway. Okay, I need to take it out more on this side here. Hold on, I'm trying to get around the camera. Okay, and then once I do that, then I'm going to round that eyeball off and try and push it up into the wood and get it smooth up and under that lid. Same over here. We'll try and round that up and under the lid. And from the top, I'm going to pull it down and into that cut. I know you can't see the cut real good. It's very faint. I'm trying to round that eyeball down and get it to go into that cut that I just made. Because you want that eyeball to be round. We don't want them sticking out, all right? They'll look pretty goofy if they're sticking out too far. Make sure your corners are cut out. That's what's going to give you the shadow that you need to keep that looking the way it should. Okay, so now they're kind of rounded. Now we can poke an iris in there with a small gouge. So this one right here might be a little bit big. Or if I have a... Yeah, this will work. I guess I'll use this one. That's what I have on the bench here for now. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to come over a little more to the corner because I don't want it straight ahead. I'm going to push that straight in just like that. Okay, I'm going up and under the eyelid with it. I give it a turn, I pull it out. Same on this side. Try to keep them going the same direction. And I push it in, try to go up and under that eyelid. Push it in. I'm going to take my knife and I'll pop that little chip out. Just enough to give me shadow. Okay. Again, the shape of the tool dictates the shape of the cut. See, now he looks like he's got an eyeball there. And we're going to do the same with the cut I made over here. I'm going to just come over here and try to get that chip to pop out. And if it doesn't pop out real good, I'll recut it. But it seems to be coming out okay. Now we have two shadows for irises, okay? I'm going to run my line down through there and make sure that this side of the eye goes up and underneath the eyelid. and make sure I clean all the wood out of there. And we can clean this, don't worry about all this here. That right there is just going to clean up when we hit that with a piece of 220. It'll look awesome, don't worry. Okay, again, just make sure in the corners here that you keep those pretty clean and you have a good dark shadow there on both sides. That's going to be what makes that eye look like an eye, the shadows. Okay. Alright, now we're going to take the V-tool and we're going to cut those bags out. You can also do it with a small gouge. Let me do it with a gouge and show you. See, this is the same gouge I just used to poke those holes in. What I'm going to do is take some of that wood out underneath that line we drew, or on the line. It doesn't have to be much. But it's about getting different depths, right? Which I'm raising above it, but underneath it, there'll be a bag. Okay, see if I can come over here and get this. Same here, don't worry about what chips out, we'll fix that later. I'm trying to take underneath that line, just take a little bit of wood out there, okay? I'm trying to keep my fingers out of the way also. Just to raise this part up. And whatever's here, I'll just blend that down. Okay, just blend all that over. Now that'll be a whole different level of height to what this is up here. This is lower, this is lower. Even if it doesn't look like it just yet, it is, okay? Which will give it an interesting look when we actually put some V-cuts in there. So now I'm going to go back to my V-tool. You could use a veiner for this also. And a veiner is just kind of like a U shape. It doesn't have the V. It's a very, very tight U. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to put that small V-tool cut. I'm going to go right up into the corner, like so. And over here I'll put 1 or 2 lines to simulate some crow's feet. And you can even put another line here so you have like a double bag. Okay. Same here. I'll go right on the line. See, a lot of times when you want to raise something, you're gonna have to take, whoops, my hand's in the way, sorry. You're gonna have to take wood out from underneath whatever part you want to raise. So always keep that in mind. I'll try to clean this line up here with the V-tool inside the eye while I'm here with this tool. And now we're starting to form eye bags, okay? And again, I could put another line so he kind of has like a double bag and just run a line through there also. I think I have the camera a little too close to my hand. Here we go. And the more I can break up, the more it'll start forming a lot more interesting look around those eyes and gives him that old man of the woods, really full of character look, okay? On the sides here, I like to put character lines, just a couple lines. Give him a little age, okay? And we can clean that up, like I say, once I do all that, I'll take a piece of 220 and just lightly go over it to clean up those lines and blend them together just a little. So on this side, so he's not all choppy and broken. And there's power bits you can use for that also. I'll show you those in other videos. But that right there is going to be probably the end of this video. Well, this section anyway. and we'll move to the next part. And anytime you do that and sand on your carving, make sure you take a brush or an air compressor and get that stuff off, because that will dull your tools. Okay, and good. Now that's all blended in, we can move to the next part. Okay, what we're going to do in this piece is we're going to take the sides over here and we're going to bring those in and make him look like he's popping out of the wood even more. All right, so I'm going to take my pen, I'm going to draw down here, and I'm going to take where we actually sunk the cheek in there, I'm going to draw a line just like that and connect it to up here. Right, and that way we'll frame the face a little bit more. And I'm going to do this with my knife so you can see. Let's hopefully you can see if I move this over to here. I'm going to follow this line down right here. I'm going to take my knife, dig it in, right, and then try to come down just like that. And then we're going to come to the inside and make a scooping cut into that stop cut we just made. Just like that. The idea here is to frame the face and make it look like he's really growing out of that wood. Okay. And then we'll come over here and bring that up into that stop cut a little bit more, and now he's buried into the wood on that side. See that from the front? Now let's do it on this side, if I can get the camera to go over. Kind of hard. I think you can see though. We'll do the same thing. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to bring it down and make a pretty deep cut. I'm going to bring my knife and make that scooping cut, leaving some bark on the outside here, okay? And that way, he's going to really be embedded in that wood. We have a little bit of bark sticking out on the outside yet. And it just makes him look like he's growing out of that wood. Because really he is. He was living in there. We're just liberating him. Okay? And that kind of frames the face nice. And if it's a little too high, you can always take a little more off. So that's seeable from the front, you know. If you can't see both sides, that line framing the face, then, you know, of course, take the face down a little bit more till you can see it. See how much that buried him into that wood? Now he's starting to look pretty cool, all right? I'm gonna come up here. I'm gonna make a stop cut. I'm gonna push some of that up and under. Like so. I'm gonna come right off the back, chip that out, because I want that to wrap around the wood. Okay, we're gonna do the same over here. I'm gonna bring this, make our stop cut here. And we're gonna cut up to it. Just like that. And we'll give him some bits and pieces of hair. At the top here, I'm going to cut a pretty good V because we can make that look like the part to his hair. And then we'll blend that down then. Like so. I'm going to take those sharp corners off. Some of the excess bark here. I don't have to go too nuts because we want to keep what we did. And at the top, I'm gonna definitely give myself a stopping point with another stop cut and pushing that top part up into the the stop cut. Okay. There. Now I'll finish this part over here. We'll just bring that from there over, push that up. I mean, you might not have a piece like this, so you might have to do it different, but the idea is to get that hairline to go all the way across the top. Like that. Okay. Good. Now we can put some hair in there, run it all the way down to here. If you want to make it look even a little bit more dramatic, you can take a couple of chunks out on the side here. Just whatever breaks off, okay? Because we're going all the way around the carving here. So anything that breaks up the wood a little bit is going to make him look that much more interesting. Or you could leave it the way it was. Okay? Now we could take our V-tool, we could take a veiner, we could take a gouge. There's all kinds of different ways to make more lines. But we're going to push those up. This right here is a small veiner. And it's just going to make some random hair. And it's actually doing more chipping than anything. It's pretty small. But I'm trying to just break up the contour of everything. To give them a little texture, okay? And make it look like hair. You want to give it some type of movement, not just have straight lines pretty much, but like I said, if I was holding it in my hand, I'd be rotating the piece, but you get the idea. Anything that breaks up that wood and insinuates a little bit of hair and movement is going to look, it'll give it the effect we're looking for anyway. I'll explain other tools and other techniques later. It's kind of hard to do this with the setup that I have here at the moment, but there you go, you get the idea. See, now he looks like he has some hair. We do the same thing with the beard, okay? And the mustache. We're just gonna run those lines up. Try and give them a little bit of movement. Don't make them too straight. And this way your wood spirit has some character. He's got some hair on the places where he should. It makes him look that much more interesting. Sometimes these things are so full of hair, they're really cool looking. I mean, you could put hair everywhere. Some people carve a small face and just do the rest hair. But for now, we're just giving him a little. We're not going into overkill. He's just the basic first one. We still have other things to do to make him more interesting yet. Here we go. So we broke up enough of that. We can move back. You can get the idea of how that's starting to look. You can run it right off of the mustache that way. And over here, we'll probably take more of this down and let that mustache run all the way down. Look better there. I'm going to do the bottom part here. Let's try the V-tool and see what it does with some deeper grooves. If I take the V-tool and I run it up, see, this is a 1/4 inch V-tool, so this is a lot bigger than the last one. all right, we're using. But you see the effect there. Now if I take this and run it across my lip, that'll clean that up. And then we can even go in between those tufts that we just did. To give it a little bit more hair. And we can clean up the inside edge here. So play with it, you know. Sometimes I just like to run a little bit of a beard down into the bark and end it there. Or you can take this literally and go all the way down the stick or whatever piece of wood you're using. Okay, now I could put my hand here and just kind of do this. Go right into the bark and through the bark. Over here on this side, the mustache still goes down. I could take the rest of that off. I could take this over here. And you get the idea. And we have a wood spirit that's growing out of the tree, right? Now, if I clean those up, make them deeper with my knife, whatever. If I want to get that bark off more so I could see the regular wood, I just shave it with my knife and could recut it. Afterwards, get down to that cleaner wood, or you could leave the bark on. Totally up to you. It's your wood spirit. Okay, I want the beard to look like it's a little longer, so I'm choosing to take some off. And then I'll recut those lines a little more. I want a little more shadow here. Let that mustache stand out. Okay. And I might take some of this bark off here, show more of that mustache. And we'll just let it blow off into the wood and see what it looks like. You know, these Beaver Craft knives, I usually don't use knives on the rough stuff like I'm doing here, but it's a pretty strong blade on this Beaver Craft. I kind of like it. It's not bad. It's definitely handling the cottonwood for what I need. So yes, I would recommend getting them. I think they're a pretty good quality tool. There's definitely other knives out there I have. I mean, I've got some expensive knives. I love carving with my knife. But in a pinch, Beaver Craft or a Flex Cut, you can't go wrong, I think. Especially if you're a beginner. Okay, I'm going to round this off here. And I'll add a couple more V-tool marks to get that beard to come down. Just a little bit longer. Keep it more interesting. And maybe some thicker ones in the mustache too. Contour lines. Again, the highs and lows of a carving are what makes it, so not all the spots are going to be the same depth. That'll break up the contrast and make it look more interesting to everybody. For instance, you could even break up the mustache a little if you wanted to by just taking chips out of it. All right. We'll do that in another video. Right now, we should try and keep this simple. I don't want to give you too many things to remember, especially since this is supposed to be for beginners. So here I am, just taking that mustache out a little bit more. Just digging into that stop cut that we already made. If it's not raised enough, take more out. Play with it until you get what you want. Okay. That's all it's about, experiment. See that shadow? That's what I'm going for. Same with over here. If I don't have a big enough one, I'll take more wood out underneath the mustache. It's basically stop cut, go to the other side, V into that stop cut, and get a nice shadow. Okay. Cut one side, cut the other side, cut one side, cut the other side, until you get that shadow you want. Okay, he's coming along pretty nicely. Let me pick this chip out here. He's starting to look like somebody. What we're going to do next, when we come back, is we'll work on the eyebrows. And I think we can clean him up, make sure he's got enough character lines, and we got ourselves our first wood spirit. Okay, last but not least, we're going to do the eyebrows on our wood spirit. And again, I'm just going to take a small V tool or a veiner or whatever you have, or whatever set you've picked up. And we're going to just put some lines across here with it. Now, this is the most simple way. All right. Oh, I just broke the whole piece there. Let's see, maybe I can go this way and just glue that on. Should be going this way, but I'm trying to do it with my left hand. And I broke a piece off here, which is pretty easy to fix because a little bit of glue will do it. But they're not hard to fix. Or I just break it off like that and then just keep carving. If it's going to be too much drama for me, I'll just break it off. Okay. Now to clean that up, let me show you how to do that. Again, see this tool? This is the sweep we made the nose with and everything, the big gouge. If I came in here and I pushed it in, just like that, come up to the nose, make that cut, come over here on this side, push it in, come up on the inside of the nose, take that out. Okay, now I can clean all that up with my knife and watch what happens. Look at how deep that is now. All right, and that nose will go right up and underneath those eyebrows. Which is what I'm going for. And just up in here, I want to bring that down a little more. Because I want this middle part here out to give it some little bit more dramatic look. Okay, and it's starting to move there too. There you go. Now I have a big deep shadow there, but again, this part right here would all come off. If I make one or two more cuts, I could take that down and just refix that. Okay, because if the eyebrows are too big, you end up with that. So now I'm where I want to be. See how you could just keep going with the carving? Now that broke off. Well, you're a wood carver. Carve it again. Try and get that nose to go up in between here. Can always redo our little eyebrow lines. Okay, that's no biggie. Okay, so we just screwed that up and fixed it all at once. It looks better. Okay, now these will look more natural. I'll take this. I don't want the eyebrows too thick, in other words. So I can just shave those off. Like I said, this is very flaky wood. That's why I'm having a problem with it staying for this piece. But there are other pieces that are really nice and carve really well. It's no biggie, like I say. If something breaks, just do the techniques again. And I'll clean that up now, and it should clean up pretty good because now a lot of the bad wood is off. Okay. Take my knife and try again to get that nose to go underneath those cuts I just made. Just shave up to underneath it. In between here. And then try to round it. And then we can put our eyebrow lines back on. We used last time the veiner or the V-tool? I'm not sure. Let's see, we'll go this way. This is what's giving me the problem when I try to put the little eyebrow lines on. What I would do if it was going to give me too much of a problem with hand tools, I'd take my Dremel and just use a small bit to do that. So I'm not going to overkill here or I'll break more pieces off. Just going to try and make some, insinuate some eyebrows without pushing too much here. There are other tools, but we're not covering it in this video. I'm just using kind of what's on my bench in front of me right now. But that gives you the idea. Once we sand that up, we clean them up a little bit. Just a little piece of 220 fine sandpaper. You lightly go over your carving. Any places that look a little dug up, you can clean them up. And again, brush it off. If you are going to use sandpaper, like I said, I recommend definitely brushing your carving off a lot, hitting it with the air, something, before you go back and put your knife to it or any tools, because it will dull your tools after you sand if you leave that grit from the sandpaper on the wood. And there we go. There we have our very first wood spare face, and we did it all with hand tools. So I'm hoping that you guys like this video. Hope you learned a little something. We'll get better wood and we'll do more advanced techniques and stuff. You know, a lot of people request just hand tools. So let's see what he looks like here. We'll take him out of the vise. We'll hold them up in a way. He's got pretty decent profile. He's got a nice little beard. You can see his detail from all angles. So that's our wood spirit we made with just hand tools. That's the video for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Sticks and stones.